and then he just needs a beat down, needs humbling. And instead of eating cheeseburgers, I'm going to feed him some humble pie.
It's something that we took very seriously and something that a lot of work has gone into, and obviously it hasn't been resolved. And
Anthony Joshua just dropped a bombshell by taking Jake Paul to court over the crash incident. This news is hitting the boxing community like a freight train right now. He's had enough of the irresponsible behavior and attention-seeking stunts that have been allowed to slide for far too long, sending a clear message that there are actual standards in this sport. Unlike Jake Paul, who seems immune to real consequences, Joshua faces genuine risks and serious obligations every time he steps up, demonstrating to fans worldwide what authentic accountability and true professionalism look like in boxing. This goes way beyond internet feuds or viral moments. This represents legitimate legal proceedings that show Joshua is finished tolerating people who view boxing as just another platform for their social media empire.
Just talking about, oh, he's this, he's that, he's that. I said, but why are you worrying about what someone else has done? What have you done as a fighter to kind of boost your ego up?
Eddie Hearn's confirmation that they've moved forward with legal proceedings is significant because it demonstrates Anthony Joshua is pursuing real accountability through official legal processes, not just engaging in online trash talk like everyone else seems to do. This situation isn't about generating buzz or farming engagement. It's about genuine accountability and ensuring there are actual repercussions for dangerous conduct that endangers people's safety. While the Paul brothers keep monetizing mayhem and treating everything like another opportunity to go viral, Anthony Joshua is leveraging the court system appropriately to demand justice get served, demonstrating that integrity and professionalism reach far beyond what takes place between the ropes. This distinction separates legitimate champions from social media personalities cosplaying as boxers, and the difference couldn't be more stark to everyone watching, paying attention.
And he wouldn't do so. So we filed a lawsuit against him, and we'll leave it in the hands of the lawyers.
Carl Froch,
This whole mess perfectly illustrates the complete mayhem that follows Jake Paul everywhere he goes. Now Paul is about to discover that Anthony Joshua doesn't mess around with childish online drama. Taking him to court is Joshua's method of establishing boundaries definitively, demonstrating to everyone the enormous gap between legitimate champions who've earned their status through sacrifice, hard work, and years of commitment versus online jokers who believe purchasing their way into boxing grants them credibility. This represents the wake-up call that Paul has been desperately needing, and it's delivered by someone who genuinely earns respect within the boxing world. The reality that Joshua chose legal proceedings rather than simply firing back with social media posts shows a level of gravity that should make everyone take notice of what's actually unfolding here. No more games.
Where does he go from here? What does he do? I'm not even arsed, man. I can't be arsed with this bullshit anymore, this clown world. It's a joke shop. It's just a big fucking... It's just a...
This whole thing is just a complete joke. Logan Paul's attempts to make light of the situation only expose how dangerous and irresponsible Jake Paul has been with his behavior and the toxic environment he builds around himself. Anthony Joshua barely survived a potentially fatal incident that resulted from the recklessness and chaos surrounding Paul's shenanigans and the hazardous climate these people foster for views and clicks. While the Paul brothers crack jokes and mess around treating everything like pure entertainment and material for their platforms, Anthony Joshua confronts genuine life-threatening situations that could have destroyed his career or taken his life. This legal action is way overdue, and it's demonstrating to everyone that behavior has real repercussions and that entertainers who treat boxing like a joke or social media gimmick will finally face consequences for the harm they've caused. The era of escaping responsibility just because you have massive followings is ending, at least regarding Anthony Joshua's tolerance for letting things pass.
It is, what was it, about an hour ago, so I guess everything's calmed down a little bit. I thought it was a bitch move, if I'm honest, because anytime an attack like that is like
calculated and deliberate. Eddie Hearn reveals the intentional recklessness that's been driving Jake Paul's behavior from the beginning. When you examine the pattern, it becomes undeniable Anthony Joshua didn't just experience some freak accident that could strike anyone. He survived something that was basically orchestrated through the hazardous conditions and chaotic situation that Paul intentionally built and keeps feeding. This reveals the core difference between legitimate fighters who honor the sport and grasp the risks versus online entertainers who treat boxing like another chance for viral moments and social metrics. Joshua's legal response demonstrates he possesses the maturity and accountability that Jake Paul has never shown throughout his entire career. Something Jake Paul will discover the painful way now that courts are involved and he can't simply brush it off or film a response video. Supporters can finally witness the reality behind all the manufactured controversy and understand why Anthony Joshua earns complete respect not only as a competitor, but as someone who values responsibility and refuses to accept recklessness that threatens lives.
As AJ said, and everybody knows, he's not a real boxer. There's levels to this game, and he was way out of his level, way out of his depth.
Duke McKenzie breaks down Jake Paul's shortcomings with surgical precision, slicing through all the marketing and hype to expose what's actually happening. Anthony Joshua survived a truly dangerous situation that could have ended in tragedy, while Paul stays fundamentally a content producer, pretending to be a boxer, leveraging wealth and publicity to create legitimacy he hasn't genuinely earned through real competition. This incident reveals the actual price of carelessness and what occurs when people approach boxing like pure entertainment without grasping the legitimate risks at stake. Anthony Joshua demonstrates that real fighters confront actual consequences and comprehend the gravity of their choices, while Paul feeds off manufactured drama and online fame without ever experiencing true accountability. The lawsuit will show him that appearing dangerous and actually being a credible fighter are completely separate realities, and it's going to humble his attitude in ways that no amount of social media feuds or video responses ever could. This is truth finally catching up with someone who's been running from it way too long.
He didn't do anything for his career, for his bank account, everything, for his development. I don't think he did anything for his development because he didn't have somebody in front of him that wanted to test his development.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Nelson exposes the complete hollowness behind Jake Paul's career decisions and publicity stunts, while Joshua confronted genuine survival situations that put everything into proper context. Paul extracts nothing except ego validation and social engagement from his manufactured drama and hand-picked opposition, while legitimate fighters sacrifice everything each time they enter the ring. The crash wasn't some freak occurrence that appeared from thin air. It was a direct result of the negligent conditions and dangerous atmosphere that Paul intentionally fostered for publicity and content. Anthony Joshua is demonstrating to everyone precisely how to handle things correctly, with class, responsibility, and proper legal channels, rather than simply exchanging barbs on social platforms or creating response videos. Supporters now understand clearly who genuinely respects the sport and approaches it with appropriate gravity versus who approaches it like entertainment or reality television, meant to create buzz and drama. The Paul brothers' antics and their entire boxing philosophy finally face real accountability, and it's overdue that someone with Joshua's credibility and standing called them out.
I mean...
That's bonkers. Thank God he didn't have a seatbelt on. I never say that. Thank God he didn't have a fucking seatbelt on, because if he did...
There's no way.
He would be dead.
Seriously injured or possibly dead. Joe Rogan stresses exactly how near Anthony Joshua actually came to losing his life in this incident. When you learn the full story, it's genuinely chilling to consider what might have occurred. This wasn't simply luck or chance that protected him. It was the result of mayhem and negligence that Jake Paul directly caused through his behavior and the conditions he establishes. Paul's stunts and his entire boxing approach endanger actual lives, while he profits from the sidelines, counting his earnings, treating everything like another episode in his continuous content production. Anthony Joshua survived incredible odds and now pursues definitive action through legal means, proving to supporters everywhere that responsibility genuinely matters and that certain behaviors won't be accepted. The lawsuit isn't simply about financial compensation, it's a clear declaration that dangerous conduct, fame-seeking, and manufactured toughness in boxing will no longer be accepted by people who actually value the sport's reputation. This represents Joshua establishing boundaries and declaring enough is enough to the carnival atmosphere that's been spreading through boxing thanks to social media figures, treating it like entertainment.
They're hustlers. They're just trying to be smart. So for AJ, this is about AJ, how he deals with it. He's got to stay focused, on point. Respect Jake Paul as though he's on the same level as him.
Johnny Nelson hits the target perfectly when he explains that everyone with boxing knowledge recognizes that Anthony Joshua operates on a completely different level compared to Jake Paul. Jake Paul gets hyped by his own delusions and his follower base who don't comprehend real boxing, not through genuine ability, preparation, or legitimate victories against quality competition. The Paul brothers profit from fame and manufactured chaos, but authentic boxing has always centered on discipline, commitment, years of preparation, and confronting real consequences. Elements that Anthony Joshua exemplifies every single day of his existence. Filing the legal action proves that Joshua won't accept recklessness and dangerous conduct anymore, establishing a definitive boundary that can't be violated without repercussions. Supporters understand clearly now who genuinely deserves recognition in this sport. A champion who survives real threats and actively defends his reputation and the sport's integrity versus an internet performer thriving on nonsense and artificial controversy. The Paul brothers are finally being compelled to confront the reality of their behavior and the results of treating boxing like just another social media outlet. And Anthony Joshua's reaction is strong, justified, and completely decisive in ways that can't be dismissed or minimized.
We don't know. As with all these things, there's always a grey area, isn't there? But,
Adam Smith notes that gray areas exist in some boxing controversies and promotional strategies, but Anthony Joshua makes it perfectly obvious that certain actions cross every line completely, and Jake Paul's recklessness did precisely that, without any doubt. This legal action isn't concerning some questionable situation or personal interpretation of events. It's about clear responsibility for behavior that endangered lives. People are finally understanding the distinction between a legitimate fighter who's earned his entire reputation through years of commitment versus a clout-chasing amateur who purchased his entry into boxing with social media money and online followers. Joshua survived real danger while Paul laughed about it and probably strategized how to profit from the controversy, and now he's proving to everyone that behavior carries serious repercussions that extend beyond online drama. This sends a powerful statement that arrogance and chaos don't escape punishment when actual lives face risk, and when someone with Joshua's position decides to act, Anthony Joshua proves that integrity and responsibility triumph over fake toughness every time, and that there's a crucial distinction between being famous and earning respect in the boxing world.
What happened, obviously it's a tragic incident. 2 people have lost their lives. It's a horrific moment. I thought the reporting of it yesterday, I've read and obviously got in contact with his management team straight away. I thought the reporting of it was responsible, not
Gareth Davies emphasizes the seriousness of the circumstances and the responsible reporting that reveals the genuine gravity of what Anthony Joshua experienced and had to survive. Unlike the Paul brothers who feed on exaggeration, artificial drama, and chaos that they generate for views and engagement, Joshua confronted real tragedy and authentic danger that could have permanently ended his life or career. The difference between these two boxing approaches couldn't be more obvious if you deliberately planned it. One side honors life, truth, and the serious nature of the sport, while the other exploits every circumstance for content, clicks, and social media attention without any consideration for consequences. Filing legal action reinforces that accountability matters and sends an unmistakable message that reckless behavior in boxing carries real consequences beyond negative press or social media criticism. Supporters now view Joshua as a champion in every possible way, both inside the ring and beyond it. Someone who manages tragedy with integrity, dignity, and appropriate legal response, while entertainers profit from chaos without ever confronting real responsibility for the harm they've created.
In AJ's life. And it's so crazy to think that over a week and a half ago, he was on top of the world. Apparently he'd pocketed $92 million from his Jake Paul fight. The American audience was in love with him. His star was bigger than ever. And then just yesterday, we see footage like this. of AJ being pulled from the wreckage in a situation where if he'd just sat on the other side of the car, they wouldn't have been pulling him out alive. There's no...
The pain game. The situation emphasizes the dramatic difference between fame and actual survival, between social media popularity and real-world consequences that can't be resolved with good publicity. Anthony Joshua went from earning huge paydays and dominating his field to literally battling for his life, all due to the recklessness surrounding the Paul brothers and the hazardous environment they establish. While Jake Paul enjoys hype, promotional deals, and social media buzz, Joshua endures consequences that Paul can't even comprehend because he's never experienced anything remotely comparable. This incident reveals who truly faces danger in boxing and who actually earns respect through their behavior and character, not simply through promotional gimmicks and social media followers. Filing the lawsuit demonstrates that Joshua holds people responsible for their behavior, showing supporters everywhere that real champions protect their lives and reputation with more than just aggressive talk and social media posts. The Paul brothers thrive on spectacle and manufactured controversy, but Joshua thrives on discipline, bravery, and justice, taking genuine action through appropriate channels. Everyone sees clearly now the distinction between artificial bravado and authentic fighter mentality, between someone performing a character for content and someone who actually lives as a professional athlete with all its dangers and responsibility.
To really be there for them and the family, anything they need. You know, sometimes when someone is a star, they have a lot of things in their life taken care of for them. So you really have to move into that mode in this situation as well. Make sure, obviously, they're getting the best medical attention, make sure their family are safe and happy.
Grateful and blessed. Eddie Hearn emphasizes Anthony Joshua's compassion and sense of duty, which truly distinguishes him in this entire situation. Unlike Jake Paul, who thrives on fame and chaos while treating everything like material for his next video, Joshua ensures that those impacted by tragedy receive proper support and protection in meaningful ways. This transcends boxing or promotional strategies. It's about character, integrity, and accountability in practice, revealing someone's true nature when situations become serious. The lawsuit confirms that recklessness carries consequences that extend beyond social media backlash or negative publicity. There are genuine legal and financial repercussions for creating dangerous circumstances. Supporters view Joshua as a true champion who values people over publicity and substance over social media engagement. Someone who takes action when it counts rather than just talking. The Paul brothers' antics are revealed as superficial and meaningless, while Joshua demonstrates that real strength comes from courage, compassion, and ensuring justice actually gets delivered, both in the ring where he competes and in life where he must handle the consequences of other people's reckless conduct.
This is an unbelievable loss. Sinna Atlate for two incredible people who were not only part of AJ's team, but also friends. My sincere condolences to their families, loved ones, and everyone who knew them. Anthony Joshua, wishing you a speedy recovery. Stay strong, champion.
Alexander emphasizes the tragic human price behind Anthony Joshua's recent experience. When you truly grasp what occurred, it becomes even more impactful. Two devoted friends who were part of his close circle died in this incident, and Joshua survived against impossible odds when everything could have easily ended differently. This starkly reminds us of the real dangers that Jake Paul's reckless behavior indirectly caused through the chaos and atmosphere he generates. Dangers that extend far beyond hurt pride or social media disputes. While the Paul brothers thrive on hype, chaos, and fame, treating everything like another opportunity for content and engagement, Joshua confronts life and death situations with dignity and courage that most people couldn't sustain under such pressure. Filing the lawsuit is a powerful decision that not only protects his reputation and career, but delivers a strong message that reckless behavior carries real consequences that impact real people. Supporters now understand the distinction between a true champion who values life, loyalty, and accountability above everything else, versus online entertainers who profit from drama without ever confronting the real-world impact of their conduct and the environment they foster. Anthony Joshua's strength and leadership emerge through every statement he makes and every decision, proving why he's respected not just as a fighter, but as a person. The reporting on Anthony Joshua's accident reveals how close he actually came to severe injury, including possible brain damage that could have destroyed his career and transformed his life permanently. This isn't some boxing narrative created for promotion or social media engagement. It's reality, and it was worsened by the reckless atmosphere that Jake Paul thrives in and intentionally builds for attention. The Paul brothers profit from chaos, sharing clips and jokes and treating everything like content, while someone's life literally hung in the balance. Anthony Joshua's survival demonstrates his courage, awareness, and discipline, contrasting dramatically with the shallow posturing of the Paul brothers, who've never confronted anything remotely this severe. Filing legal action shows that Joshua refuses to let recklessness go unpunished or unchallenged, proving to supporters everywhere that accountability matters as much as skill in the ring, possibly more. This accident has made the public recognize Joshua's strength outside the ring as well, showing how he manages grief, loss, and legal action while maintaining professionalism and dignity that most people couldn't maintain. The Paul brothers are finally confronting the consequences of their carelessness and the dangerous atmosphere they've fostered, and they're discovering that some people won't just let things slide to avoid confrontation.
The little bit days water, he could get seriously hurt. I don't believe Josh would have. I believe Josh might have some.
Tony Bellew perfectly understands the seriousness of what Anthony Joshua endured during this whole experience. Spending days near severe injury isn't a publicity stunt or promotional gimmick. It's genuinely life-threatening, something that Jake Paul's reckless behavior indirectly caused through his actions and the chaos he generates. While the Paul brothers focus on ego, hype, and social media fame, treating boxing like another platform for content creation, Anthony Joshua handles real danger with courage and composure that comes from years of professional experience and genuine character. His compassion, resilience, and clarity under pressure distinguish him from clout-chasing entertainers who've never faced real consequences for their behavior. Filing legal action ensures that responsibility gets enforced and that there are actual repercussions for creating dangerous situations, proving that Joshua is serious about accountability. Supporters have now witnessed the clear contrast. A true champion confronts consequences directly and values life and integrity above social media numbers and engagement. While the Paul brothers exploit situations for fame without any real accountability or understanding of the damage they've caused, Joshua's strength outside the ring matches his power inside it. And this incident will define his legacy as a fighter who commands respect beyond boxing. Someone who stands up for what's right regardless of the consequences or criticism.